So this is Apple's latest and greatest offering. And if you've just robbed a bank or sold an organ and are looking to splurge on a new flagship phone, then this video is for you. Hey, what's good? Prash here with my take on Apple's iPhone 15 Pro Max. And right off the bat, I just want to say that this is actually a pretty solid device. But is it actually worth your money? Let's find out, starting off with the design. Alright, so design-wise, I will have to admit that I am a fan of what Apple has been doing the last few years, because by essentially traveling back in time and picking up cues on the design language of their older phones and reinventing them in a modern light has really helped improve the ergonomics and overall look, but also retaining a shimmer of nostalgia here. I'm a fan, what can I say? Now, further to this, I really was skeptical of the natural titanium color when it launched, and I realized that I swiped left on the idea too soon, and later found the personality of this color to really shine through. It honestly just catches the light better, and you can't really see any pesky fingerprints, especially when compared to the blue titanium color on the 15 Pro that I've got. Definitely the one to get. Now, performance wise, you get the 3nm A17 Pro chip with 8 gigs of RAM, which is buttery smooth at really any task you throw at it. Apps load up quickly, and the screen itself is a pleasure to use, great viewing angles all around, and plenty of brightness. I will say that some apps still don't stay loaded in the background, like games for instance, which is kind of annoying, especially since I've never encountered this on phones like the S23 Plus. Now, moving on to the camera system, you get a 48 megapixel f1.8 wide lens with sensor shifting optical image stabilization. This is your primary. Next, you get a 12 megapixel f2.8 with 5x optical zoom. And lastly, you get a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide. On top of this, you also get a 3D LiDAR scanner, which helps with AR as well as low light photography. Up front, you get a 12 megapixel f1.9 wide lens, which features optical image stabilization as well. Photos come out great whether you're indoors or outside. Give this phone a decent amount of light and it will return clear, detailed photos with a good balance of dynamic range and colors that are more true to life. Because of an update software-wise in the newer phones, photos are now outputted to a default 24 megapixels and are sharper and retain more image detail, a nice bump up from the standard 12 megapixel photos outputted by previous generations. Photos in low light conditions are also really great. Apple has been great at this for many years now, so it's no surprise the performance here was solid. 4K video at 60 frames is also brilliant with superb stabilization, making this great for taking high quality videos on the go without the need for a gimbal. Now, battery life for me has also been really solid. I've been getting up to 2 days consistently with moderate usage. Now, I will admit that I'm not a heavy mobile gamer. I mostly just watch YouTube videos and do a little bit of light social media browsing, so my use case may vary from yours. But I can confirm that this phone will easily last up to 1 day with heavy usage, with the only downside here really being just the fact that it takes forever to charge, especially when compared to the likes of the Android flagships like the S23 Ultra. Now, what is my final verdict on the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Well, I will say this, after using this phone for close to about 2 months now, there definitely is a stark difference between my experience when using the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. Now, the 15 Pro in my opinion was really just a miss, especially due to the fact that the battery life on that phone was just not great for me at all. I could easily kill it in 1 day. And on top of this, I also encountered some overheating issues when using navigation apps such as Google Maps. Now, these were 2 issues that I did not encounter on the 15 Pro Max. The battery life has been great, and when navigating using Google Maps, I have not encountered any overheating or battery drain issues. Now, this just could be because the iPhone 15 Pro Max has better thermal management with the larger body size than the 15 Pro, or Apple has just released some software updates that address this issue. Personally, I think it's just the latter, but I'm glad I didn't have those issues. So is this the iPhone to get? Well, it's definitely the best iPhone out right now, but at a price point of about 1,550 USD, it's a lot to think about, especially when you consider the fact that you could actually pick up a brand new M2 powered MacBook Air 13-inch for less than the price of this 15 Pro Max. And that's a useful and great laptop. Now there are two ways to look at this. If you're using an older Apple device, like the iPhone X or the 11 Pro Max, or even if you're switching from the Android side of things, and you want the latest and greatest that Apple has to offer, and you are actually willing to rob a bank to pay for this phone, then by all means, go ahead and buy the 15 Pro Max, because it really is a great device. But if you're just looking for an updated iPhone Pro experience with a bigger, better screen, and you're willing to accept about 90% of the performance of the Pro Max, then I genuinely think that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is your best bet. Now, brand new iPhone 14 Pro Maxes go for about $1,200 to $1,300 USD, with great refurbished options going for about $1,000 USD. So this is about a $550 difference for about 90% of the performance of the 15 Pro Max, which I think is a great deal. Plus, that deep purple color that only comes on the 14 lineup still has me feeling some type of way. I believe that phones have genuinely gotten to a point where these incremental upgrades aren't really worth or justify the high price tag that these phones come out with at launch, and it honestly is more beneficial just to scout out a deal for the previous year's flagship phone. And in the case of Apple's new lineup, I honestly feel like this is no different. So this has been my take on Apple's iPhone 15 Pro Max. It looks like we're out of time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.